Hi, welcome to Sites Family Farms. I want to take a moment to talk in the hay shed here. Kind of go over some of the gardening things that we do, and this is a good time of year to think about it. So we follow a modified Ruth Stout method. What that means is we don't till the ground, but we put a hay covering on it all year round. It will kill any existing grass, and as it decomposes, along with whatever you have down there, it creates a nice a nice light soil that holds moisture well. Last year we didn't do any significant weeding. There were a couple of big ones that got through that we certainly took care of, but we did very little weeding, probably once or twice. I spent about an hour in the garden over the entire season, and we did not water at all, not once. Not when we planted, not when we harvested, not on the hottest days, not in August, not through September, none of it. And this is really the secret. So by putting down the straw, it creates a layer that weeds really don't like to grow through. You just move it out of the way, and you put your seedlings in, they'll be fine. As they continue to grow up, you put hay around them, and it keeps moisture in. If we had some really crazy wet days, I'm sure I'd have to take a look at that so they weren't getting over waterlogged, but we never had to experience that. And we use hay and straw. This is straw, but we use straw for our animal bedding, and so once it's done being in the animals' pens, it goes out to the garden. It's a great cycle. It decomposes in there and feeds the vegetables. The vegetable stalks get thrown back to the animals, and it works out pretty well. We'll go ahead and take a look down in the garden. I'll show you some of what we have down there. Up close view of our raised bed garden. It's enclosed currently with chicken wire, but we're going to be changing that this year to cattle panels. This is what looks a little bit neater. All these is 2x8s, cut 4 foot by 8 foot, or built 4 foot by 8 foot, and I set them directly on top of grass. That grass we covered with straw and hay and allowed to sit. Some of them for a year, some of them for only a few months. The ones with a few months, we put cardboard down, and the soil underneath is pretty great. It's hard to get down to it because I've got about 8 inches on here. But we've got really nice moist soil. You can see a couple of plants that are still growing down there, but they will get snuffed out very quickly. We used our concrete reinforcing wire tomato cages this year. They worked very well, with the exception of one of our large German heirloom tomatoes. It just got too heavy. But a roll of about 150 feet is about $80, and it will make every cage for tomatoes and peppers that we'll need for the foreseeable future. You can see one of the things that we do have problems with this method is a vining plant. My wife calls it Creeping Charlie. I'm not really sure what else to call it, but it's hard to smother out. So we'll be working on that this coming year. A couple of layers of cardboard, I've read, will take care of it. So this is just it's our midwinter dead garden, but it's a good idea. These little patches of grass, I love to grab 1 or 2 every time I'm down here, and the rabbits will take care of it, and they love it. We used cattle panels and set up kind of like this for our beans. This one was actually crushed. We had what was supposed to be an acorn squash. Turned out to be a sweetmeat squash, and if you're not familiar with the variety, they grow to about 20-25 pounds. We had a big windstorm and it just broke it. The T-post was holding it while I could wait to harvest. But that is our midwinter garden view.